What's going on, everyone? It's your boy back again with another issue of Tommy Reads X-Men. Today we are looking at X-Men number 9 from January 1965, written once again by the great Stan the Man Lee, with art by Jack the King Kirby. This one is called Enter the Avengers, or Enter, the Avengers. So you know who we're going to see in this issue. Big team up? Kinda. So we start off, surprisingly not at the mansion. Usually we start these off with some kind of training montage, but the X-Men are actually on a ship headed to Europe. We're going international for this issue. And there's an iceberg there, and Cyclops uses his optic beam to blast it. He gets exhausted. And all that's kind of filler till we find out that they're on the mission because Charles contacted Scott psychically to tell him, hey, I need some help here with my battle with Lucifer. If you watched last issue, you could tell that I thought they buried the lead, that the issue should have been about Charles versus Lucifer, as he was in this giant mech suit and he was burrowing his way down to hell to fight him, or so I thought. And I was super excited about it. I hope they did it in the next issue, and they did not disappoint, except they did disappoint. So we quickly find out that the Lucifer Charles is fighting is not the devil. I guess they couldn't get the rights to the devil, or I'm sure Mephisto wasn't created yet. Google him because he's awesome. Marvel fans, if you don't already know, I'm sure you do. Anyway, Lucifer's this dude, possibly an alien, in a green and purple costume. He kind of looks like Kang the Conqueror, who at least from the Secret Wars, I remember Kang had his action figure. It was a Secret Wars action figure from the 80s. He was all in green and purple, and those are two of my favorite colors, so naturally I thought he was awesome. But anyway, side tangent back. Lucifer and Charles are old enemies. Now, in my head, before I read this issue, I pictured a big showdown in hell with Charles in his mech suit versus Lucifer the devil, and they're just giving him the old 1-2, like, old-timey like this. And I picture something like, if you've seen The Lord of the Rings, when Gandalf fought that fire demon, the you shall not pass, whoosh, fly you fools. That dude. The dude, he somehow fought up a mountain from where they were, so it was a long battle up a bunch of stairs, but, I digress. Charles vs. Lucifer was nothing like that. It was basically two dudes kind of tough talking at each other at first. He's like, you again? He's like, yeah, me again. Because we find out that Lucifer, at least so far, is the reason that Charles is in a wheelchair. He cost him the use of his legs. We don't find out the reason why 100% because we'll get to there, but he is definitely not the devil. And no sooner do they meet up and start tough talking each other than we completely cut away to the Avengers, who are there in Europe because Thor and his hammer had a weird feeling that they needed to check something out. Like something was afoot there. The game was definitely afoot, but something was going on with them, and they needed to check it out. X-Men are there at the same time. Eventually they're going to cross paths. So Lucifer's big plan, and he tells Charles this, is I have a huge bomb that could destroy all of Europe, the world, just a big-ass bomb is what he tells them. Comics Code, they don't say ass, but he had a big-ass bomb, and he hooked it up to his heartbeat. So if Charles decided to, kill him or whatever right then, the bomb would go off, everyone dies. Now, he tells him, you're the only person I'm scared of, which is weird because he's basically the one who called him out to come down here and challenge him. You don't see Superman telling people all the time, like, hey, don't come at me with some kryptonite, you know what I mean? Because that's what could stop me. I mean, I'm sure he does it. I'm not really a Superman fan, but whatever. I'm sure he's done it at least once or twice. But the Avengers show up, X-Men show up, and Lucifer starts attacking he starts attacking the X-Men with a laser that he just had randomly. Charles, while Lucifer's distracted, decides to send a ghost version of himself. So he sends his psychic astral plane self to warn the X-Men. He's about to attack with a laser. Watch out, guys! And then they're like, oh, okay. And so then they duck the laser, and they're able to defeat that pretty easily. It takes like a page or two, and then they run into the Avengers after the laser. You'd think it would have been cool, the laser's like razzing everybody, but they're not. So the Avengers run up and they're like, oh, well, you guys are just a bunch of some punk teenagers. I mean, you ain't gonna be able to step to us. We're doing real work here. And Papa Chuck hears that and he goes off. He's like, what? Yo, you call my peeps teenagers? Even though they are? X-Men attack! And the X-Men try to step to the Avengers. Now, the Avengers lineup's a really good one. We got Captain America, we got Iron Man, we got Thor, we got Giant Man, Hank Pym, who I don't like for a bunch of reasons, and we got the Wasp, who's there. And she's alright. But the Avengers start tussling with the X-Men, and Wasp attacks Jean right away because she don't like her, which is unfortunate. And we got a thing coming up about Jean later. I'm gonna get to that. But the Avengers start actually whooping on the X-Men because they've been heroes for a long time, and the X-Men are still in their infancy. So they're having practice fighting against teams. They're not working together. And once the X-Men are on the ropes, Charles sees it and he uses his ghost version. So Ghost Papa Chuck goes up to Thor. And he's like, dude, here's the situation, okay? Blah, 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 Mephisto, bomb, cost me my legs, the X-Men are teens, he explains the whole thing, and Thor's like there listening while he's hitting Iceman's, ice shield or whatever. And then he stops and he's like, well, alright, well, this seems like a you guys issue. So, we're gonna... And then he leaves. He just takes right off. The Avengers are like, all right, well, deuces, and we're out. You'd think they would stick around and help if there's a life-threatening bomb, but they're like, well, whatever. I'm sure these teenagers who we dismissed earlier has got the situation well at hand. And the X-Men eventually get to where Charles is. Charles uses his mind to knock out Lucifer, but still keep his heartbeat going, so he's not dead or nothing. And then Charles and Scott defuse the bomb. Earlier, Scott, with the iceberg that he knocked out in the beginning pages, he got tired from using his powers, but this time he was able to concentrate a lot more and use pinpoint accuracy, that Charles said, and he was like millimeters, and he was like able to defuse the bomb. So he's getting a better use of his power as when the situation needs it. And so that was a pretty weird way to end the issue. Almost. I forgot to mention. This is important. This issue, Trivia Buffs, did not feature a Jean's hot. Nobody said Jean was hot in issue number 9 of X-Men. But we did get an Angel's hot because the Wasp was like, oh, snap. That Angel's got it going on. Maybe I'll flirt with him to make Hank jealous. Now, Hank's a horrible monster and he wouldn't have noticed anything. Wasp, you could do better, girl, for reals. Professor X. Getting back to the ending, I'm jumping all around here because there wasn't a lot going on in this issue, to be honest. It was a mini fight, even minier fight, ending. Professor X gets Lucifer up, he comes out of consciousness, and he's like, you beat me this time. And even though he had a threatening bomb that was going to blow up the world, or at least Europe, he had a reason to take out Lucifer because he cost him the use of his legs. Charles did. And he was doing all kinds of horrible shenanigans. All those things. Charles is like, you know what? Next time it's going to be me and you. But you could go. We ain't going to stop you. And he lets him go. He lets him go. This dude put you in a wheelchair. And you going to let him go without nothing? Like, not even like Beast. Knock this fool out, please. For me. For Papa Chuck. No, nothing. He's like, all right, we'll see you again. End of issue. That's how it ends. Very frustrating. My final thoughts on this. This was about a 6.5 out of 10. This wasn't the greatest issue, and in fact, this is the second issue in a row that hasn't been that great. You could definitely skip 8 and 9 if you want to. If you're a completist, by all means read it. I mean, any X-Men's good X-Men, but this one wasn't that great. The Avengers cameo was cool, don't get me wrong. I was major disappointed in Charles versus Lucifer. Don't give him a badass name like that with all that connotation and all who you think we're expecting. And then just some dude in a mask shows up. Don't give him a great backstory like he and Charles got history. Like, maybe down the road we're going to see Charles and Magneto gang up on this dude. Like, you step to my boy, you step to me. What? But don't give us all that and then just disappoint us with what happened. Because I was disappointed. And Charles never even explains to the X-Men, who asked twice, like, what do you got going with this dude? What's your problem? How did he cost you your legs? He's like, I'll tell you later. We're doing things now. And he never tells him. And hopefully he'll tell him soon, because we do need some background on this. But yeah, 6.5 out of 10. Not the greatest issue. Haven't been the greatest 2 issues in a row. I got a good feeling about the next one. Hopefully I'll enjoy it a little bit more. I suspect I will. Spoilers, I will. And yeah, so check us out for the next issue, the 10th issue of Tommy Reads X-Men. This has been issue number 9. Again, if you like what you're seeing, if you're mildly entertained by what you're seeing, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, like and subscribe down there somewhere. I don't know exactly where it's at, but it's down there somewhere. And leave me a comment, let me know what I'm doing. Let me know what I can work on. I enjoy any kind of feedback from people, good or bad. Good or bad. Or bad. But yeah, enjoyed it, kinda, not really. Check me out next week.